Hey there, wanted to make a quick video and show you guys what I'm doing here. I'm installing a Mag-Hytec deep sump transmission pan and going to do the filters and fluid change on my 68 RFE. This is in a 2009 Dodge Ram 3500, but if you've got a later model 6.7 most automatic, you're most likely going to have the 68 RFE, and this would be applicable to your truck as well. Alright, I've taken the 8mm socket and I've loosened the 15 bolts on the pan just slightly, cracked them loose. Got a pan there to catch the fluid. This is always somewhat of a dirty job, but I'm ready now to climb under there, break the pan free and get that fluid out of there. The pan's kind of a tight fit, but I'll show you once I get it off how it works. Alright, just wanted to show you the old pan real quick before sorry for the noise, it's windy here, and I put a tarp down. Look, we're already getting a few drops out. This is the existing pan. There's 15 bolts. I think there might be an 18 bolt version, but I think the most common is this 15 volt bolt version. And I'm going to go ahead and take all the side bolts out and see if I can drain some of the fluid by tilting it before I pull it off. All right, so I got the old pan off and all the fluid drained out, or most of it, what I could get. It's messy, just as messy as you would expect it to be. Tech tip of the day. This comes from my Uncle Dave. He cut off the top. This is ingenious. This is why they call him the genius. Cut off the top of some socks and wear them like wristbands. So when the fluid comes drenching out all over, and it will, it catches it before it runs up your arm and into your armpit, down your shirt. I like that idea. Okay, so this is going to be wonky, but I'm going to climb under there with you and show you what we got. Have plenty of rags. I laid down a tarp first and then some cardboard. It's worked out well. And this is a messy job. So let me
Did you put the filter on already?
I did, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the transmission with the pan off. You seeing that? These lines right here kind of get in the way a little bit. What I did was I loosened all of them first. Then I left two, one in each corner up here. I left two back there, one in each corner here. Pulled those out and just let the pan tilt down with these just loose a little bit, and got the majority of the fluid to drain out of the pan that way, because it's held here and it'll tilt down. Once I got most of that fluid out, I held the pan up with one hand, took these last two out, dropped it down. It catches, the front flange of the pan catches on the transmission lines here. So you got to drop it down there and then kind of feed it out backwards, but all while fluid is dumping out all over everywhere, which these help. Anyway, it's hard not to make a mess, but I used a plastic bucket here, and I also had my, I'll show you, I carry a oil change pan in the back of my truck for changing my oil on the road. Have lots of rags handy. Transmission looks good. I changed out, you want to change out two filters, this one here and this spin on. Make sure when you pull this one off that you check that gasket. Sometimes it'll come off with the filter. There's a round gasket up there. Mine stayed in and it looked good, and I just double checked to make sure it was completely seated in there and inspected it, and it looked good, so I left it in. I've heard that they're a little tricky to get out, but it didn't look too bad to me. But mine looked good, so I just reused what was in there. Changed this change this. You just want to hand tighten this filter here. And now I'm going to prepare this surface. It's pretty clean, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit better, and then we'll get the new pan on. All right. Thanks. Okay, once you get all your fluid out, you want to make sure that your gasket surface is really clean. I took a little lacquer thinner on a white sock. Mine looked clean, so you might look at it and think it's clean, but clean it. This was white. It's really important to make those gasket surfaces super clean. So I'm gonna go inside, prepare the new pan, and we'll get that ready to go. All right, I wanted to show you, I should have showed the new pan, but I forgot. So I'm just gonna show you real quick. This is the pan. This would be applicable if you were putting this stock pan back on, but I put a deep sump aftermarket pan, the Mag-Hytec 68 RFE. I'll show you a picture of it. Anyway, make sure both surfaces are really clean. You want your pan, obviously mine was new, so it was clean, but I cleaned it anyway with some lacquer thinner. Then I ran a bead of gray RTV along here, and I like to kind of mush it around the holes, make a nice consistent flat gasket on there with it. There's many schools of thought on this. Some people don't use the gasket, other people do. I used the gasket that came with it, so I laid it down on my gasket sealer. Then I put another small thin layer of gasket material on here. I think I used the Permatex gray. Made sure everything was smooth and even. Then I took the bolts that came with the pan and I fed them up through just to where they were just coming through the gasket, and the gasket held them in place. I put all 15 bolts in like that, so they were just a few threads through, but enough that it held them in place. So then when I brought it under there and I stuck it up, like you have to feed it kind of from the front like this to get it up over those transmission lines, but it went nice and easy first time, just a little crooked, boom, like that. And then you don't want to push up all the way because you'll force your bolts back out. So you just kind of hold it right just off of the surface and start a couple bolts. Start one here on each side, and then still don't push up until each bolt is threaded up in there just slightly. So then you'll thread each bolt just to where it starts. Don't tighten anything. Get each one to where it's just started, and then slowly, like a drum head is what I like to do. I take one, I tighten this just to where it touches the surface, and here, there, crisscrossing. When each one is just snug, like finger tight, then you can go around and start tightening each one. You don't want to over tighten with these. That's an aluminum transmission, and you will strip out the threads. I didn't, but you want to be real careful to just snug them up and then go around. It's time consuming, but you just want to snug and keep going around 3-4 times or more until each one is tight, but just a little turn each time, little turn, and then you're good to go. I will show you I got the new pan on. Actually, I can show you right now. That's the new pan. And this one comes with a drain plug, magnetic drain plug, and it's like 3 or 4 quarts more capacity than the stock pan, so that'll be good. I tow a heavy 5th wheel, so this is going to help. The extra capacity and fluid is going to help to keep the tranny cooler, and also these nice cooling fins here will help to dissipate some of that heat. Those are the transmission lines I was telling you about. See how they kind of extend over that front flange? It's not a problem. Mine went on super smooth and easy. Just go slow and take your time, and you'll be good. There's 2 filters in the 68 RFE, and they look like this. There's a small round gasket that goes up. This sticks up into the transmission, and there's a round gasket that sticks up in there and fits on a flange. Like I said earlier, mine looked good, and it didn't come out with the filter. And I inspected it, and it looked nice. So rather than having to take it out and get the new one in, I left it in and used it again, which is perfectly fine. But you definitely don't want to, you want to make sure that you don't put the new gasket that comes with the filter in there and have 2 gaskets, because it won't work right. If you do that, you're going to have problems. You'll know if you get it up in there snug and tight, because it'll fit and your hole will line up over on the other side. And that is a funky Torx bolt, which I forget exactly what it was, but that always makes me happy. Here's the other filter. It's a little spin on. So you want to make sure you change both of these. And you'll be good to go. All right, so I'm done. Everything's done. I ended up measuring 7 quarts. Came out, and I added 3 more to that for the additional quantity of the pan. And actually it came out perfect. I didn't have to add any more than that. So I'll just show you. Come around this way. It actually worked out great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what temperature wise, what kind of difference it's gonna make. Some of those grades towing my big trailer, I tow a 40-foot fifth wheel, and it's tranny was getting hotter than I wanted it to be. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what difference that'll make. I also have the Mag-Hytec on the rear end as well. So having the drain plug works out awesome, and the additional capacity is great. All right, I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.